One of the most realistic Batman figures I've ever tested, but could it pass for something straight out of a Nolan film? To find out, I set out to recreate one of the Dark Knight trilogy's most iconic shots, combining the details of this figure with posing and Photoshop. And along the way, I'll break down just how real this figure is through its sculpt, accessories, and articulation. And if it can sell that iconic moment from the movie, it might be the most lifelike Batman figure in this scale. So this is InArt's new 1/12 scale Dark Knight Batman figure based on the Christopher Nolan movies. They're a team in the action figure space known for creating hyper-realistic 1/6 scale action figures that blur the line between collectible and cinema. But this time, they're scaling down. This Batman marks their first attempt at bringing that same realism to the 1/12 scale. It's part of a brand new line and one of only two figures they're releasing from The Dark Knight Rises, the other being Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, which hasn't been released yet, along with a few other characters they've been revealing little by little. Even before I popped the tray open, I could tell that this wasn't your average release. But once I had the figure in hand, it felt like they might have pulled off the impossible. This is the deluxe version which Queen Studios sent over for me to check out and showcase to all of you. And this version includes two extra items, an unmasked Christian Bale head and a display base with an articulated arm. But deluxe or not, the promise remains the same, to deliver 1/6 scale level realism in a much smaller form. I've tested a lot of 1/12 scale figures, but this one instantly felt like something pulled from Nolan's world. The shape, the matte finish, the weight in hand, it just feels like the Dark Knight. The proportions are dialed in and that unmistakable silhouette. It all conveys Christian Bale's version of Batman flawlessly. And up close, the armor detail really sells it. You've got these clean lines and layered plating that look like they'd flex and move. There's a softness to the sheen as well, less plastic toy and more of a movie suit look. The cowl sculpt does a lot of the work here too. It's sharp and intense, just like Christian Bale's version, but then you swap in the unmasked head that's made to look like Christian Bale, and it's shockingly realistic. The paintwork on the skin, the fine texture, it all catches light in a way that makes it feel almost real. You don't see that kind of detail at this scale often, and it's a great preview of what InArt's 1/12 line is aiming for. There aren't any sloppy edges or weird paint bleeds that we see on a lot of other 1/12 scale figures. Everything looks intentional and crafted with precision. Even the smaller parts look great. The gauntlets, the boots, they all match the movie design really well, and for a $51 figure, that's impressive. But what really surprised me was how it reacted to light. The shadows bring out all the sculpted detail, and suddenly, it doesn't just look like a figure, it looks like a shot from the movie. And that got me thinking, could it actually hold up in a scene? Not just look good, but really blend into the world of the film. That meant finding the right moment, something that could test the sculpt, the pose, and the lighting all at once. The shot that came to mind, Bruce standing on the rubble while Rachel's letter is read aloud. It's quiet, moody, and loaded with atmosphere. And while this figure is technically from The Dark Knight Rises, the suit is the same, and that moment just felt perfect for what I wanted to do. So I started thinking through how I could recreate that. One idea was placing a digital background behind the figure, something simple like pulling up the movie's frame on my laptop and shooting right in front of it. It's a trick that a lot of toy photographers use, and it can look pretty convincing. The other idea was to go all in with post work, like shooting the figure on a clean background, and then build the rest of the design in Photoshop. Whichever direction I go, the goal stays the same. Make the figure feel like it belongs in that world. But before I mess with posing, I need to dig into the accessories and see what I've got to work with. A Batman figure is only as good as the tools at its disposal, and this one comes fully equipped. In addition to the unmasked head we looked at earlier, the figure comes with two swappable mouth plates for the cowl. The differences are subtle, one more neutral and the other one having a slight variation, but they do go a long way in changing the expression and overall feel of the face. You also get a full range of interchangeable hands, all dedicated to some sort of use, like relaxed palms, fists, and several specialty hands for holding gear like the Batarang, grapple gun, and EMP rifle. Each accessory is sharply detailed and screen accurate, whether it's the EMP rifle, the sticky bomb gun, or the grapple gun. They all feel accurately scaled and slot securely into the right hand poses. And then there's the other bonus item, the display base with an articulated arm. It features a metal style plaque with the Dark Knight Rises logo at the front, and on the bottom of it is a bit of info on the figure release. It's minimal, but just enough to give the figure a proper stage, especially when it comes to posing. Altogether, the accessories add a lot of range whether you're going for something static or iconic or mid-action and dynamic. And with our gear accounted for, it's time to see how well this figure can actually move. Looking good is one thing, and this figure certainly looks good, but can it move like Batman? The figure's articulation goes beyond the basics and delivers the kind of range that lets you recreate cinematic moments, not just static poses. You've got deep bends in the elbows and knees, smooth torso articulation, and a solid forward crunch that helps sell those brooding or mid-fight stances. The arms also lift freely thanks to the articulated shoulder armor, and the legs have enough outward and upward motion to strike wide, balanced stances. As for joint movement, it is tight in certain spots, but this is an intentional design. It's built to hold those poses without collapsing, and the instructions even call this out as a feature, not a flaw. But as much as I love the figure's design choices when it comes to looks, articulation, and accessories, the one thing that really bugged me is that they didn't wire the cape, so you won't be able to hold those windswept poses. But it does drape naturally and stays flush with the body thanks to a magnet and hook system at the chest and collar. It's also removable, making it easy to swap in a custom cape if you were to do something like that in the future. Most of the joints are cleverly hidden too on this figure. The sculpt and dark textures disguise the articulation well, with only the waist occasionally needing a quick belt adjustment depending on your pose. And I do like the way that the torso has these individual sections that articulate as you move them and panels that cover those joints underneath. This figure doesn't just look the part, it moves like the Dark Knight too. And that's exactly what I need as I build toward my cinematic shot. Alright, it's time to finally put this figure to the test by recreating the shot from The Dark Knight where Rachel's letter is read aloud while Bruce stands atop a burned out building surrounded by rubble and flame. It's one of the most powerful images in the trilogy. Earlier, I explored a few different methods like digital backdrops, Photoshop environments, but in the end there was one technique that caught my attention: photocompositing. Instead of building everything from scratch or using a digital background like I planned to, I would instead be using a real film still from The Dark Knight, removing Bale's Batman and compositing this figure into the same scene, matching the angle, lighting, and overall mood. This way, I'm not just mimicking the movie, I'm stepping into it, swapping out the actor for the figure and letting the illusion do the rest. I started by matching the pose, using the original frame as reference and working the joints until the figure hit the same brooding stance. Then came the lighting. I wanted to try and match the look seen in the shot as best possible, where we see a lot of shadows and not a lot of light spilling onto Batman. Once the shots were locked in, it was time to jump into the editing process. First, I color matched the image in Lightroom and then moved into Photoshop, cutting the figure out, dropping it into the movie still where our original Batman was removed, and then I started playing around with the shadows, lighting, and overall tone. And after all that work, here it is, the final recreation. Could a 1/12 scale figure sell that level of realism? Did it really feel like a shot from the film? For me, I think the answer is yes. Not just because of the sculpt or the paint, but because of how well it holds up when you treat it like a real subject. When you light it, pose it, and place it in a world of the movie. If you'd like to see more recreations in the future, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more action figure goodness.